Oh, baby, we missed you too.
Hello guys, welcome back to the vlog. We are now 3 sitting here. Well, we were always 3 for a little bit, for 9 months. Kinsley, sit down. She is doing so well with a baby. For anyone that's curious, she really is. She is mesmerized by him in a good way, not in a bad way, but we knew she would be great with kids. He is here. He came 5 days early, and I did not anticipate the day that I woke up, which was last Friday. He's now a week old, which is blowing my mind that it was a week ago. I did not think that I would wake up on Friday and start to feel what I now know was contractions. And so I woke up at like 6 a.m. and I kind of felt something different. I was just like, that's a new little jab. And about the 3rd time I had felt it, I was like, okay, I should probably start monitoring this, if these are contractions or if these are just Braxton Hicks, or I've never had a baby before. I don't know what those are supposed to feel like, and there's only so much you can know from someone else's experience. You kind of have to go through them yourself to identify what they are. They were very mild, and they were probably about 20 to 30 minutes apart. They were super sporadic. So I was like, oh, this must be what they call Braxton Hicks, you know? They did feel a little stronger than I thought Braxton Hicks would feel like. So I was like, I don't know. Those are not supposed to be very painful. And I kind of feel this a little more than I thought I should. And it kind of kept going until around 10:30, but they were super random. And it would last different times. They would be different times apart. I called my mom and I was like, I think this is just false. I just don't think that this is anything. They definitely didn't feel like strong contractions, like the baby's coming right now. My mom was actually supposed to arrive the next day on Saturday, and that was the day she was coming in, about 5 days before the baby was going to be born, or his due date. So around 10:30 they stopped, and I was like, yeah, see, that was totally false alarm. And then at 2, I started doing things because my mom was coming tomorrow. So I was like, I'm gonna work upstairs, I'm gonna clean, just I had already cleaned it, but I just wanted to make sure it was perfect because she was coming in. So I cleaned her whole room, did some organizing, cleaned the bathroom, scrubbed the baseboards, did kind of crazy things. And about 2 o'clock, I started feeling them again. They were a little stronger. And I was like, okay, well, I'm hungry. Let's keep monitoring them. They were still super random. Romeo and I went to go eat down the street, and I was like, if these are Braxton Hicks, even in their mild state, I was like, these are Braxton Hicks. I don't even know if I want to know what the real ones feel like, because I was like, if these aren't supposed to be painful, I'm feeling not great. They felt like decent period cramps, that was kind of how I would describe them. But they were gradually getting stronger and not longer. They were still only lasting between 30 and 45 seconds, but they were getting more frequent, but they were still sporadic. They would come 10 minutes, anywhere between 3 minutes and 10 minutes. And it was super random. So there was no pattern. So my doctor had said, follow that 5-1-1 rule, contractions that are 5 minutes apart for 1 minute each for at least an hour. Come to the hospital. Or if your water breaks, go to the hospital. And so my water hadn't broken. So I was like, okay, we're not even reaching a minute, but it had now been 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. They were still super sporadic, but they were getting stronger. And about 7:30, 8 o'clock of doing this, I was like, okay, I need to go to the hospital and they need to tell me that this is false or real. I had gotten to that mental state because I was like, these are continuing. This is getting stronger, even though they're not really that planned. I was like, I have to go. They need to tell me that. If they send me home, they send me home. I don't care. But I need them to check me. I need to see if I'm dilated. I need to do it. It was just a feeling that I had. I was like, we have to go. We grabbed our hospital bags with everything that we had packed already and repacked. I've been packing it for months now, getting ready. Headed to the hospital. We got to the hospital about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and they admitted us. And I'm actually so glad that we went to the hospital so late on a Friday night because there was no one there. I was treated like a queen. The moment that I walked in the door, the hospital door, like literally, like queen. Like it was amazing. So we are officially at the hospital and I'm in a very lovely shade of green. I have been laboring at home for the last 7.5 hours. Finally, it's like, okay, they're to a time where we need to go to the hospital. I need to know if this is real or fake. And a good thing we came because I'm already 2.5 dilated and totally like thinned out, which is great. So he's coming. So 6 days before his due date, but he is on his way, which is great. So this, but we're waiting for a room, and I'm gonna have So they admitted us, they got us into a room, and we continued the whole process. So in total, if you just count from 2 p.m. when the contractions came back and started getting stronger and not counting that morning, I labored for 18 hours. He was born 7:08 the next day. So when I think about like, oh, this was just like, oh, I just showed up at the hospital and had a baby, it was super fast. No, it was, 18 hours and it was such a cool experience. My water broke around 1 a.m. My mom took an emergency flight. Not emergency flight, but she took a late night flight, which was also amazing because the last flight out of Texas that she was taking had no people on it. They had to spread everybody out just to balance the plane. That's how empty it is. She saw no one. So I felt super safe that she wasn't gonna, catch anything from anyone, and she wasn't around a whole bunch of people and like she was coming. We were obviously at the hospital. She took a taxi from the airport to the hospital and got there right around the time that my water broke. So she did not miss the delivery. She didn't miss the baby coming into the world. Then once my water broke and stuff, we were like, okay, they're getting pretty strong. They wanted to see when I did get an epidural. I was trying to rest because I could, I didn't have to breathe through the contractions anymore and they were just kind of coming, and I felt really good. So I was resting. I didn't fully fall asleep, but I was resting for the next several hours. Even though you get an epidural, at least from my experience, you don't feel the contraction anymore, that pain, but you do feel an intense pressure. And that makes sense. Like I understood that going into it. I felt a lot of pressure, especially leading up to actually like delivering him. Then by the time I got the epidural and I had rested, I went from like 6 centimeters dilated to 10 plus 1 super fast, like within a flash. And he was coming and we were ready, and pushing through the contractions with the pressure was a lot better. It was when I wasn't pushing, I really felt the pressure. And then he was born at 7:08. So I pushed for my mom's, I knew it was over an hour, but my mom said it was closer to like an hour and a half, an hour, 40 minutes. During the whole process, all I could think about, no matter if I felt pain or pressure, or it had been so long of me doing this, all I could think about was how cool of an experience it was. I even have clips my mom was recording and I'll put it in here.
What a cool experience.
Yeah, just ask whoever scrub. No, I know. Go if someone, whatever scrub is out there, will you just ask them? We don't have a cup and the right vacuum cleaner for cord blood. No cup either.
Table up for fully fill out.
Okay.
Cool.
Literally the coolest experience I have ever had in my entire life. I would do it again in a heartbeat. It wasn't really a short labor. It wasn't a short just delivery. So cool. I felt empowered. I felt strong, you know. I would do it all over again. It was beautiful in every way. Obviously Romeo was there and my mom was there, and he was here, and he is perfect. So everybody meet Cade Rowan. And anyone that saw my C necklace and thought it meant something, it did. We've had his name picked out since we found out the gender. He was actually originally, his name that Romeo and I have had for years and years and years was August Cade. And we couldn't get over the nicknames for August, like Gus or Augie. We couldn't do it. Romeo was like, no, I don't like the nicknames. We loved Cade. Found a new middle name, and his name is Cade Rowan. And he is perfect. He was 7 pounds, 10 ounces to die for. I am so in love with this little boy. So going into delivering him, you know, I didn't know what to expect. And, you know, I just did a lot of research on different things that could be offered to you in the hospital. You know, kind of creating my own birth plan in a sense, when there was really only one goal that I had, is to have a healthy baby delivered, period. And whatever he needed was going to happen. And I'm no doctor, and I don't pretend to be. But there were wishes kind of that I had that I hoped would pan out, but if it was going to put him in any danger, it wasn't going to, like, we were going to pivot and change plans and change courses and give him whatever he needed and do whatever he needed. I didn't want to have a C-section, a cesarean, if I could avoid it. I didn't, you know, the recovery and the surgery and everything. I really wanted to give birth to him, quote unquote, naturally, but I did want to get an epidural. So the way that he came out, I just wanted to, hopefully he was going to be in the right position. But if he wasn't, okay, that's something I would have accepted immediately. I really didn't want them to force my body to do anything that it wouldn't do naturally. So when they immediately asked me if I wanted to have my water broken or given Pitocin, I really didn't want Pitocin. I wanted to avoid it if I could. If my body was progressing, if the labor was progressing and I was continuing to be more and more dilated on my own, I did not want Pitocin. I didn't want to speed up a natural process if I didn't need to. And they were like, okay, sounds great. But that comes to a level, it's like, if I'm not progressing, I don't want it to lead to a cesarean, so maybe we do. It was all an evolving thing that we took step by step, but my body did do it, and we both worked together, I guess, and he came naturally. Did kind of, I guess, have a birth plan, but it was all really focused on, if we can do these things, great. If not, and he needs something else, do it. My nurses in labor and delivery were awesome. I mean, I spent a lot of time with them from being admitted to giving birth to him, and they were amazing. I wish that they would have traveled with me down to, when they moved us, that we were in one room for delivery, and then they moved us to obviously the postpartum and for recovery. I was like, no, don't leave me, don't go home, just work like straight, you know. They were always laughing. I was like, don't leave me. They were literally amazing. Once we got to the postpartum, like, recovery wing, I began to hate being in the hospital. I don't like hospitals in general. I don't want to stay there if I don't have to. It's not a spa day for me. You know, like, I'm like, I don't want to be here if I don't have to. So the first night, the bed, you know, like, the beds are uncomfortable. Like, I had just pushed for so long, my back was starting to hurt, kind of thing. I'm like, I want to make sure he's okay, make sure I'm okay. We obviously, my insurance paid for us to be there for 2 nights. I didn't know that that was 2 nights from when he was born. I thought it was from check-in, I guess. I just didn't know. And I was like, no, I'm not staying. I'm not staying here. If we're okay, I'm not staying here another night. It was so funny when we got to the room, I had to go to the bathroom, and I got up out of the bed by myself. And they wheeled me down there, but I got up out of the bed by myself. And I was walking to the bathroom, and the nurse was like, did you have an epidural? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, you're walking. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh my God, okay. And every time the nurses would come in, I was like moving around. I had my laptop, I was working. I was editing the video, the last renovation video that you guys saw. The majority of it was edited, but I still had so many finishing touches that I needed to do on it. I thought about it through the entire delivery. Like, I'm crazy. So I had my laptop, you know, we were obviously doing so many like vital checks, and like people were coming to, you know, check on us and do the checks on the baby and stuff. I was moving around. Every time a nurse would come in, I was doing something, and they were like, you should be resting, you should be resting. And I'm like, I am. I'm moving slow, you know, like, and the bed was just so uncomfortable. I'm just like, I can't. Another thing that kind of frustrated me, and just like my you know, personality and everything, is like, I couldn't get rested, like constantly on like guard, like kind of like on edge if they were gonna come in and take my vitals again, because they would come so often. We weren't really sleeping, so we weren't resting. It was a lot. I just needed to get through all of the, you know, the steps to make sure that he was okay and I was okay, and then we could be discharged. So we left at like 2 o'clock the next day after I gave birth. So I gave birth at 7 a.m. one day, so we stayed there all day that day, and then to 2 o'clock the next day. So I just didn't stay another night, and we were doing really well, so they had no problem discharging us. Also, something that really frustrated me is that every time a nurse would change their shift, a new nurse would come in, obviously, and each nurse has a different way that they do things, and they don't mind telling you that you did something wrong that the last nurse told you to do. It was so frustrating for me. I'm like, the last nurse told me to do it this way, and now you're like telling me to do it that way. And I'm like, I need to do it my way. Like, you guys, I told the last nurse, I was like, you guys all need to sit down and get on the same page. Like, I was so frustrated. I was like, what are you guys doing? It was just like different. Well, obviously everyone's gonna have a different way of changing a diaper and what they use, and especially when it came to breastfeeding, because I'm breastfeeding, and a different way. Like, I was just like, it was almost like my head was spinning. It was like, I can't deal with all the contradicting advice. You know, it was like too much. I was like, I just need to figure out what works for me and what works for him, and I need to get out of here in order to do that. Overall, the experience though, like just delivering him, and even as we like came home and started to recover, I contribute so much to my like positive outlook on delivery, my pregnancy, and everything. Like, I looked at that labor and thought, that's so cool. That was so cool. I did something so cool. I felt so powerful and strong, and you know, just the positivity around it. And I think I really got that through not really listening to, you know, kind of other people's birth stories, especially if they were negative ones. And I didn't want to fill my head with all of these like what if bad things that could happen. I entered it as, if something happens, we'll handle it. If something happens, we'll take care of it. I'm in the hospital. I have professionals around that can help me, and we'll take it step by step. And there were some things that happened that we had to maneuver and take care of, and we did. And I just looked at everything that happened with positivity. I just really took it as like, my body is made to do this. And because it's made to do this, I got this. Like, this is going to be okay. So labor did not scare me at all. I was really excited for him to come into the world, and I knew what scared me more is not knowing when to go to the hospital, you know, because it was like the unknown of like how I was supposed to feel, and you know, will they send me home kind of thing. And my intuition just knew that it was time, which was really cool. Positive thoughts around my delivery and stuff, I think really helped me through the process and heal faster, and just do it, you know, like it was all just really, really good. And also having an amazing support system. Romeo, I always knew would be an amazing father. I had no idea that he would be this good. He loves him more than anything. And he's just so helpful. He is amazing, and there's two of us in like fully 100% invested in this baby, and he's 100% invested in me, like just like recovering. My mom has obviously been here since the birth, so it's been an amazing week, but really she's been here to just hang out with him, and we've been doing so well on our own with just like figuring everything out, as setting new routines, figuring out how, I mean, the first time I had ever changed a baby's diaper literally was him in the hospital. Having my mom here just to like bond with him and hang out with him and hold him and experience these days have been amazing. When we got home, recovery was something. You know, it was the first time my feet actually swelled. I think for 3 days my feet, they're better now, but I got some compression socks, but my feet had swollen up, and of course I don't stop. I walk around and I do things, and I like clean, and I've got to restock diapers and things, and prioritizing getting off my feet, not lifting anything, obviously. Because I labored for so long, my back kills me. It's still, this is the first time I'm actually holding him like this because my back has been so hurt. So just like really like kind of babying my back and being careful, but being just at home in my bed has done wonders. I'm still recovering in that sense, and I'm still recovering in a lot of other ways, but making so much progress. I really turned a quarter at like day 5 after birth. I felt a lot better. Like I could like sit down without it hurting, and you know, like get up and move around without feeling so much pain. And then every day after that has just been miles better than the last. So, you know, you heal quickly, especially if you're eating right and drinking lots of water. It's definitely been an adventure. And then we had to get out of the house like 2 days later because he had his first appointment. So I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm, you know, we're like knee deep in recovery, and we have to go to the hospital for his first appointment. So we did that, and he was doing great. We had to do some tests, but everything came back perfectly, and he just he's great. He didn't really lose any weight. I think he lost about 3 ounces after birth, which was great. So he started feeding well right away. Since I've been going through my recovery phase, I was learning everything and anything about how to pump, how to use my pump. First time I've ever done that. Washing bottles, and just like trying to get on a plan and a schedule and make sure that he has enough food and stuff. So something that was really giving me some anxiety the first day was not knowing if he was getting enough from just breastfeeding. And so once I really wanted to prioritize learning my pump so that I could pump and then know how many ounces were in the bottles, and he could start taking those, and I would do like a combo feed directly and through the bottle, but all breast milk. Once we did that, it was so much better for my mental health just to know that he was getting enough and everything that he needed, so that we could gauge it. So it was nice to be able to tell his pediatrician too, you know, how much milk he was getting. And I think that contributed to him not really losing any weight. He was already on the swing back up when we went to his appointment, which is really wonderful. I did feel like when we were leaving the hospital the first time we were walking out, I was like, kind of like I was stealing him. I was like, we could just leave with him. Like he's like mine, but like, I know that, but it's like kind of, is this okay? Like it was just such a weird feeling. I also feel so weird not being pregnant anymore. For the first couple of days, I kind of like felt like I had, this isn't like a real thing, I don't think, but like ghost pregnancy. Like if I hadn't felt him move, that was something that I would do for so many months that I'm like, okay, has he moved yet this morning? Have I felt him, you know, because I was like kind of counting his kicks and things like that. And I would still think, I'm like, have I felt him today? I'm like, oh, MaCenna, he's not in there anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like a weird feeling. I had a great pregnancy, with the exception of the first trimester being so sick for those like 6 weeks or so. My second and third trimester were great. I definitely had some ailments. I was definitely getting bigger in my third trimester. It was getting harder to move around and things like that, and harder to stand up. But I mean, overall, I had like a really wonderful pregnancy. I had learned how to dress in my pregnancy. Then now, you know, like I've slimmed down. My clothes I were wearing, I wear differently, like pants I was wearing underneath my belly. Now it's just so much to get used to and so much change in like just a day. Kind of like shocking. You're like, okay, no, this is how we're living life now. So our bedroom has become baby headquarters. I mean, we've got the bassinet, we've got the changing table. We don't take him up to the nursery at all, which we knew. We knew he was going to be downstairs with us. So we're kind of really living in the living room and our bedroom and migrating back and forth. And we've just really been setting like intentional routines, trying to figure out what works best. For the first 6 days or so, it's really about just like survival. Romeo and I were both up with him at feeding times at night, but we were sleeping in between because he has been amazing. He is a great sleeper. We're very lucky. He is a great sleeper, and he only cries when something is wrong. And he's only crying long enough for us to identify what's wrong and fix it, which is incredible. So he is doing incredible, and then it's helping us to recover and like set these routines, and we're just doing it as a team. And I think that is really, really helping. And we're still keeping everything organized and stocked and cleaned, and he sleeps so much that I'm like, I've been working. It's all been really, really good. It is an adjustment, and it is a huge change. Like our lives center around him now, but that's what I wanted. That's what we wanted. We dreamt about this for so many years. Romeo actually ran some errands for the first time because we needed a few things, and he was texting me pictures of Kate. He was texting me pictures of the baby, and he was like, I miss him so much. We've already had so many memories and made so many memories just in the last like 5 days, like 5 or 6 days. And he's like, I miss him so much. And just the love that overwhelms you so instantly in this little being is a feeling that I can't even describe. Like, it's truly incredible. They are doing so well together, Kinsley and him. Amazing. We've been ready to have a baby for so many years. And then with COVID and everything, it just kind of put on hold with the cottage and stuff, and just really prioritizing a family over the last year and a half really has been incredible. And we could not be happier. Lives evolve into such amazing new chapters. Some are better than others, and this chapter is so beautiful and something that we've been looking forward to for so long. That yes, my life is changing in so many ways, and our lives and relationship are changing in so many ways, in the best ways. And so just looking at everything, pregnancy, delivery, life, in such a positive light really got me through labor and the change of it all. And it's just, we are so happy that he is in the world, and he is doing really, really well. So what's next? So I didn't know going into this if I was going to take a maternity leave, what was going to happen, how I was going to feel, how I was going to bounce back, what kind of recovery I was going to need. And my priority is to soak up as much of this time as possible. But right now, talking to you, I'm soaking it up. He's right here with me, and I'm so lucky. And I worked really hard to design this lifestyle that I can really spend a lot of time with him and still work and still renovate a kitchen, and still make videos. And because it's all centered around my home life, and because I have an amazing support system with Romeo, and we have an amazing support system, I'm not taking any time off. Maybe the videos will be a little bit lighter, and we're gonna play everything by ear. I just took the 1 week while we were getting readjusted, and this is the first vlog back. So you'll have vlogs and podcast episodes and renovation updates, because we still don't have a kitchen, but we are making do. Like, we really are doing a really good job, like just using the makeshift kitchen in our living room. It's working. It's not a problem. Like, really, it's okay. And I would rather a really well-designed kitchen that's really well done, that's gonna last forever, than a rushed kitchen because a baby was coming. So that's been the mentality the whole time. They were here yesterday working on the cabinetry. So we're already filming the next episode. I hope that we make a lot of progress this week, so you guys have a really awesome, and we both, me and you, have a really awesome update on Sunday. I'm hoping that the fabricator for the countertops can come out. I have some projects that I need to do, some stripping and painting. I can paint. I can use spray paint and not worry about him. Well, I'll still be careful, you know, because I don't know how that affects breastfeeding, but you know, like, I can do things. It has been hard not to DIY because I've been pregnant, but it was look at this. It was worth it. It was so worth it. So stay tuned. I'm not slowing down. My brain has already been working, and I love what I do. And I love sharing my projects and my life with you guys. And it's just like not gonna stop. But I get to spend a lot of my time and soak up this newborn stage and every bit of his life because of the structure of my job. So I want to thank you guys for just showing up every week and enjoying the videos and just being here. So thank you guys for being here. You will hear more updates and more projects and all the things. Thank you guys so much for being here. He's here. We're entering a new chapter. Let's finish a kitchen and let's do some projects because I'm itching to do so. I'll see you guys on Wednesday for a podcast episode. So come over there, and I'll see you on Thursday for another video. Bye, guys. Oh, we did it. That was your first video. And you slept the whole time. This must feel so good for him. This must feel like he felt for 9 months, right? Like in this position with my voice and muffled.